we about to cover a rap at ESPN. Yes, Pat McAfee says he has to combat a rat. He up there rapping, and he's talking about names and numbers. This is why I love Pat McAfee, because he ain't hiding. Tank top on, he'd say, look, you can see me, and I'm talking about you, Norby Williamson. All right, so y'all may not know who Norby Williamson is. Big-time executive at ESPN. Been there forever, even before my days. So he doesn't have a stellar reputation. Let's just say that, right? So this landed in the sports media landscape pretty well with a lot of people, including some big names. But first, let's just give you a little context and color of what's cracking here. So Pat McAfee basically is sitting there like, somebody is sabotaging our name, our show. Now, usually when you hear that, somebody gonna stay general and you just be like, all right, dog, who you talking about? And if you ain't gonna talk about who they are specifically, why you telling us? We can't help your ass. Listen to Pat McAfee. He wants our help.
Anyways, we're very appreciative, and we understand that more people are watching this show than ever before. We're very thankful for the ESPN folks being very hospitable. Now, there are some people actively trying to sabotage us from within ESPN.
Funny.
More specifically, I believe Norby Williamson is the guy who is attempting to sabotage our program. I'm not 100% sure. That is just seemingly the only human that has information, and then somehow that information gets leaked, and it's wrong, and then it sets a narrative of what our show is, and then are we just going to combat that from a rat every single time? I don't know, but like somebody tried to get ahead of our actual ratings release with wrong numbers 12 hours beforehand. That's a sabotage attempt, and it's been happening basically this entire season from some people who didn't necessarily love the old edition of the Pat McAfee show to the ESPN family.
Sure.
There's a lot of those. We've heard them anonymously quoted in the Washington Post, in the New York Post,
Right.
in the New York Times,
Right.
in the LA Times,
Right.
in Wall Street Journal.
Right.
And they're never like, yeah, love the show.
This is awesome.
It's always like little things to try to tear us down. So even with the enemy within our own camp, somebody that I don't like that guy. That guy left me in his office for 45 minutes, no-showed me in 2018. So this guy has had zero respect for me. And in return, same thing back to him for a long time. So even with that taking place and potential PR, we're still growing somehow.
Yep.
So we're very thankful.
Yeah.
I think we're doing it right. We're trying to do it as right as possible. We have good intentions every single time we come in here. We don't always get it right, but motherfuckers been getting it wrong for a long time in this specific field. Long time.
Every day. Every single day. What do you mean? Like you said, you have the right intentions. Like, we're trying to sit here and have fun and talk about sports.
Bingo.
And Connor and other stuff as well.
Man, he went there. Woo! Coach, I remember it like yesterday. Coach said, if you say something disparaging, bad about somebody, I don't give a damn who it is. I need their names and numbers. So he went there on Norby. Now, here's the thing about it. This was happening during the show, last hour of the show. And he's like, all these articles out there, people just keep putting out information that someone is privy to, because you can tell when you read the articles. Oh, that's intel. That's behind the scenes. Somebody got some knowledge here. This ain't just no guesswork. And it happens in all industries. It happened when I played football. You'd be like, oh, somebody leaked the article one time. I was going to sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I didn't sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But there were conversations off the record with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm like, who in the hell would say that? It was somebody more than likely from the Pittsburgh Steelers trying not to drive the price up, right? So they're like, oh, no, we don't got any interest, et cetera, et cetera. That was one story. Another time I was going through contract negotiations, ESPN, they start leaking stuff, trying to suppress your numbers. I'll give you a famous one. One time, Shannon Sharp, you remember Shannon Sharp was up for negotiation. There was a lot of issues. Well, Skip is getting paid $6 million. Why is Shannon only getting $3 million? Is it because of race? Remember that? All those kind of things. So there's always a side leaking it. And it ain't just two sides. It's a third side, you know. And that third side is the one that's trying to tell the truth, but at the same time trying to give an advantage to one side or the other. You ever catch that? So Shannon's side more than likely leaked that. More than likely, I ain't gonna go there on record, allegedly, as they say in YouTube world, etc. A bunch of cases. Now y'all start looking at stuff through those lenses, through those eyes, like, oh, why do I know that? Stephen A. Smith in his next negotiation, hey, I may not be here. He's saying that directly, but also you can read articles that are pointing to the same thing. That's usually a camp trying to get some leverage. All right, so McAfee kept talking about that. One of the articles said Pat McAfee needs to produce better ratings to be worth $85 million and headaches for ESPN. Where does that come from? That comes from somebody on the inside sitting there like, let's start to poke a little hole in that balloon. Let some of that air out just in case this is not going as we want it to go. We already laid some groundwork. His contract 5 years. Years ago, they could say, years ago, you weren't living up to expectations in the beginning. Ain't that dirty, y'all? That's how the game goes, for real. So you can see the situation already percolate, and good job, McAfee, for addressing it straight on, straight up. Now, ESPN, of course, when he comes direct shot, you got to respond in a direct manner. Their PR released a statement saying, quote, "No one is more committed to and invested in ESPN's success than Norby Williamson. At the same time, we are thrilled with the multi-platform success that we have seen from the Pat McAfee show across ESPN. We will handle this matter internally and have no further comment." Basically, they're going to say, hey, y'all got to stop playing. Y'all can fight, but y'all can't be messy when y'all fight, right? Y'all can't be slinging mud outside the pig pen. That's how this conversation going to go. So I saw Jamil Hill. She tweeted, quote, "I can relate." And Michelle Beadle wrote, well, well, well. Now, what's up with those 3-word responses by both ladies? Let me tell you something. Norby got power. So people ain't going to go directly at Norby like Pat McAfee did, because not everyone has Pat McAfee's power. He's on a guaranteed contract. Do what you want. You know what my landing spot would be if you want a set trip up here. I'll be right back on YouTube exclusively, right? So it's a flex to another guy who knows he has power that can flex as well. All right, let's get into a little deeper life lesson of this. All right, because I know both parties involved. More importantly, I know the game. To succeed in this sports media business, you got to have your guy. You got to have a guy. Jamie Horowitz was a name back in the days. You guys remember him, still out there doing his thing, but y'all remember that name percolating. He was a guy. He was a guy that rolled with me. Sports Nation became a thing because Jamie Horowitz went to bat for me, etc. Stephen A. Smith has a guy. His name is Dave Roberts, if you guys know who Dave Roberts is. He's an executive that runs First Take and has control, I think, over, he used to have all of audio, think so, and some of the sports programming, etc. I don't know exact title, but he's a guy. Stephen A. got his guy. Skip has his guy. Charlie Dixon, who used to work with Jamie Horowitz as well, who was my guy. Love Charlie. That's Skip's guy. See what I'm saying? Now, here's the thing about it. Without a guy, you're rowing a boat, no engine. But you don't need a guy. It just, you're going to see the guys who are somebody got a guy. Now, with a guy, you're smooth selling. That's how the game goes, pretty much. Like, because he's going to go out there, hey, I got a new show idea, take it to the execs. Who are you thinking about in terms of talent? Well, I got Skip, I got Stephen A., I got Pat McAfee. Oh, you already got it plugged in. Let's go. Now, if that guy ain't going to bat for you, then you in that audition line. Good luck to you trying to skip that line. Now, when you don't have a guy, you know how it's going to go. A lot of work. When you got a guy, smooth selling. What about when a guy's hating on you? Like in this situation. It's choppy waters, but it doesn't sink your ship. So behind the scenes right now, they having some real conversations about the Pat McAfee experience. Not to get rid of it, but how to smooth it out internally. Because right now, obviously, Pat McAfee ain't scared to call somebody out as he just did Norby. And more importantly, they don't need those type of headaches. And the craziest thing is his show is doing good. Like, if you add up all of it, TikTok, YouTube, ESPN, the actual channel, he has grown since he left YouTube exclusively. But that doesn't feel like That's the narrative. That's the message being portrayed. And that's why Pat McAfee got mad and had to blast his butt. So good for him. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Norby just because I don't have a lot of experience with Norby. It was simple as that. Cordial, great, but not the greatest of experiences and not a ton of them. But his reputation, as you can see by Michelle Beadle and Jamel Hill, all to the bad. So what do y'all think of this? Tell me what y'all think. What do you think? Are you on Pat McAfee's side? Are you on ESPN side? Do you even understand what the beef is about? The dude is doing great. Why y'all over there trying to undercut him? Usually when they do that, they trying to get some of that money back sooner or later. There's no other reason for you to be out there trying to hate him. And the dude stood him up. He said he was in his office, 45 minutes? Norby didn't even show up? At least he was in his office. I don't think I ever been to Norby's office.